Om Shanti, everyone, and welcome to Harmony House for another peaceful hour and a half. I hope you've already enjoyed a half hour of peace. For those of you who came early, good evening, Zoomers. Thank you for being such a loyal audience all these years. Throughout COVID, we're here. We were here before COVID. Now we're here after COVID. And of course, we'd love to see as many of you as possible in person. So this evening, we have our wonderful, esteemed sister Anjani. Hello, Om Shanti, to talk about the theme for the month. And this is a brand new month, using spiritual power for harmony. Harmony, peace. Things harmonious in your house, in your workplace. Well, by the end of the hour, hopefully we'll have a few ideas on how you can take the power into your own hands and have harmony wherever you are, no matter what's going on. I'm sure that's where Sister Anjani is going to go, right? Pretty much, only deeper, much deeper. All I know is in my life, I've learned, especially here, to use the powers that I have in order to create peace when it doesn't exist. That's the trick. And I want to read what Sister Anjani said, this blurb that you probably read. A supportive relationship filled with love, respect, and care results in a harmonious atmosphere and a nurturing environment. As I read, just see if this is 90% of your life, 60% of your life, whatever, wherever you are, you bring with you power that you may not have tapped into. The challenges which interfere in these relationships are just a chance for us to use our spiritual powers. What is a spiritual power? We're going to learn tonight. I know that I always have the power to shut up, to not speak, to think first. And then I can call on, and I do regularly now, the power to tolerate. If someone is insulting you, how do you respond? Send them love. Can you do that all the time? That's wonderful. How long are you coming here? Have you been coming here? 15 years. Okay, you sound it. Different, right? Okay, so we can have the power to tolerate. We can discern when to speak and when to not speak. I grew up having to defend myself. I had to be right, and I had to convince you that I was right. Sound familiar to anybody? Zoomers? Okay, so when it's I, me, I've enjoyed learning here the wonderful shift to what do you need from me? Is it better to love or be loved? What do you think? Any ideas? You want better to love? How come? Better to love. You agree, Dahlia?
Think that it's to be loved, because when you feel that you're loved, you can spread that love to others, which is feel very comfortable. You come from a good place, like open ease, and then you spread it around. When you feel that somebody loved you, so easy.
Okay, so you're just depending on something outside of yourself, right? Of course you would. We all want to be loved. But they say if you don't have something in you, you can't give it away, right? Right. So let's see what the hour brings for us in deciding all of that. Okay. So tonight we will explore all of these varied ways to achieve harmony from Sister Anjani, who is the coordinator here at Harmony House. And I have to tell you, I just got back from a 5-day retreat at Peace Village. You've heard us talk about Peace Village. 183 Brahmins, all mostly egoless, pursuing this life of peace. I don't know which was better, the program, and Sister Tina helped run it, or the population that got to enjoy the program. This was an exceptional group of people who just drank in all the peace they could that entire 5 days. It was beautiful up there, and it is beautiful. You should consider go online and look at the course offerings. You know, they give one. I took a writing course there about 10 years ago. It was just wonderful. Anyway, good evening, Sister Anjani. All set? Thank you for what I know is going to be a joyful hour. Om Shanti.
Hello, everyone. Om Shanti and good evening. And everyone is well and happy. So that means there you go. We're all in harmony, right? Everyone happy? Trying to be happy. Okay, because that's a very big sign of harmony when we are happy, when we are peaceful, when we can share, when we can care. All these are qualities we express when there is harmony. And then when there isn't harmony, then what does that look like? What else? What's the expression of when we are not in harmony? What do we do? Do we know what we do? We get mad, okay? We get mad with whom? You get mad with yourself, okay? What happens when we are not in that place of harmony? What is that shift? What's my thoughts like? My feelings like? What are my words like? What is my relationship like? Are we seeing it in front of us? We see what happens. We're very uneasy inside. We are not happy at all. There's a lot of complaints going on inside. It should be, why it's not like this, and so many thoughts we have that's racing in our minds and creating a whole big world of situation within my own self. So the first place where harmony begins is within myself. And it's the first place that this harmony starts, and that is within my own self. My own thoughts, my own feelings, how I perceive things. And we can go on with a long list of everything, because see, the soul is in the body and the soul uses the senses. And so if the soul is in the body and it's using the senses, I am picking up from each one of these senses. So if I pick up from my ears, then what do? I respond the way I perceive through what I'm listening. So it's not only through what I'm seeing, but through all the senses. I'm seeing, I'm listening, I'm smelling, I'm touching, I'm everything. And that creates an impact internally. And I'm responding to that based on how I see it and I feel it and I think it. And so what starts happening? Internally, we see that disharmony is happening already. I'm creating an inner conflict. I'm creating an inner dialogue that's creating a heaviness inside of me. And then what do I do with that? Okay, here I am, I see something, I don't like it, right? I don't like this thing. Why is this like this? Or then what starts happening? My own thought starts feeding from that one little scene and creating something which becomes so big internally. And then we explode with it. We go to a person who might think is connected with that. And then I get affected by it. Now, I get affected. I infect that person with my thoughts, my feelings, my vibrations, my energy. And then what happens? We create conflict. That's how we start creating these disagreements and we start creating these conflicts. Now we look at the world and we say, wow, what a world we have and we're living in today. Is it a peaceful world? A happy world? A harmonious world? Far away from it. And if you keep bringing from the external, the huge world, unlimited world, and you keep narrowing it down, and all you see and feel and can think of is conflict everywhere. The whole nation, come down, bring it down to your neighbors and families around, and then you bring it down to your own homes. And we know that it's a very tough world. And it's all because this art of creating harmony within myself, something is missing. Do you think anyone in the world would want to create disharmony? Would want to create conflict? I don't think people consciously would want that. They create conflict for peace. They destroy because they want peace. They destroy because they want love. And so the innate quality of the soul to experience that true nature of being, to be that, is the calling inside, but there's no power to be it, to do it, to feel it, to share it. And so because we have lost our strength, we have lost our powers, we have lost even our decision-making power, even the power to discern what is the right thing to do, I have lost it. And so we put ourselves in this space that we spin in it. And as we spin, we are going through our own emotions. And imagine when I pass that on to someone else, their vibrations is also affecting me more. I'm affecting them, they're affecting me, and then our experiences in life becomes very tough, very tough, very tough. And as I said, it's not something anyone really consciously want. But how do we bring about these changes? How is it that I can consciously have that love for myself and say, you know what, enough of this. Whatever is happening externally, I'm not going to look at that right now. You see, one of the other things that we do, we give the most importance to what's happening outside of us. That everything outside should be the way I think it should be. I want it to be, right? Are we familiar with that? Everyone should behave the way I want, whether it's the spouse, whether it's the children, whether it's your friends, your parents. We all have certain expectations of everyone, how they should be. And so when they're not being that for me, it bothers me. And so this is why I would say the first thing is leave all the things outside as they are. Don't try fixing anything. Because if I try fixing, I will try fixing for the rest of my life, and nothing will be fixed, because it will always be based on my own expectations of what I want to see. And so what do? Where is the shift? It's a whole shift of consciousness. So it's the shift from the outer consciousness, the physical consciousness, and I move inward. I move within myself. And the moment we really take this shift and we see internally, we will see that we are living in a world that is so beautiful. It is so beautiful because it's not physical, but it's my spiritual world. And because it is beautiful, and I recognize it, and I know that it is my world, I would start accepting that world and trusting that world and to be there. Because I don't trust my own self, I wouldn't have trust in the harmony or the peaceful thoughts, even for the moments that I have glimpse of it. And so what happens? I'm pulled back again in the outer, and we get caught up again out there. And so I would say the first thing, if I look at myself, I would say I had to trust that these qualities that I have inside of me, that is innate in the soul, it's my true nature of being. They're qualities which can never be changed. Love, peace, sharing, happiness, creating a relationship where there is caring, there is forgiveness, there is so many beautiful qualities. So when I start recognizing these qualities, I start trusting them. So what I've discovered recently, because I've watched my own life and I've seen my own relationships of different challenges, and why did they challenge me? And they challenged me because one is we want the things we think it should be this. Someone else might say, no, it's like this. Now, how do we meet? How do we meet? And so it becomes, first is my own awareness of that inner stability and acceptance. And the other side is coming out from that inner space to say, it's okay. It's okay. You are okay. You are right. And what I've learned from that, I've learned to see the changes that happens. The other thing is my mind, it's like, sometimes we allow our mind to play with the situations. Something happens and we keep playing back it like a record again and again, and it just keeps spinning constantly. I learned to stop that. Okay, something happens. How long do I want to make this stay with me? It's my choice. I can say stop now. And that is put that point of awareness of who I am to say stop. I am peaceful. I'm not going there. And watch the changes. Or I can go on making myself miserable with something that is very small, very mundane. And so I had to decide, and I say, I choose to stop. I choose not to make this scene go a step bigger. And so when I made those decisions that this is what I would want to see happen for myself, I started to practice. And the practice I made was to put that point, that stop. And that point and that stop was to be with God. Be with God again and again, as many times as I need, so that what the soul is doing at that time, you're actually recharging yourself. You're actually filling yourself with what's missing inside that is asking you to be that for me, to give me that. Because if I say to you, why did you put this flower like this, Louise? It should be like this. It's not the flower, it's not the vase, but it's something inside of me that is a very deep habit that would say it should be like this. Am I making some sense? So it is how I'm seeing it, how I want it. Nothing is wrong with it, whether you put it anyhow you turn this. But see the habits that we have formed in our lives of how we see things and how we want it. And it's just a tiny thing. And I could create a big issue with Sister Louise that why this flower is like this. Create lots of waste thoughts, lots of wasteful feelings until the relationship could become one of total disagreement, total chaotic because of this small thing. Thorns and weeds. And so this is what it is. It's something very small. If we all look into our lives, we will see that the things that creates conflict, they're not big things. They're not really big things. But we do not have this power to let go of what we can't change. We think, I must be the one to change it. I must be the one to be right. And that's when our ego speaks. Our ego can be very big because in humility, you will see those who express and exudes that energy of humility. There's no sign of ego in them. I was thinking one day that you have to be so humble to recognize your own ego and to accept that this is my ego and to say, I'm sorry when I need to. And sometimes it can be very difficult because we have the habit of, again, proving ourselves right. Do you prove yourself right? Do you try to prove yourselves right? Sometimes we do. Because when we think we're right, someone will see me as being good. And one day I said to myself, I don't have to be good for anyone. I just have to be good. Within myself, I must feel that I, the soul, am coming from a place of kindness, the qualities, and that's what is good. Not to prove myself about something will make me good, but to come from that place, that inner strength within that I can feel and call that goodness. So all these qualities that we need to use in our lives, we're sort of missing them. They're all getting missed out. And our energies are more focused on the things which are up external and which are negative. So I would like each one to ask yourself and go within yourself and see what would you like to feel internally. And if I'm not feeling the way I choose to and I would like to, and actually no one would say they don't want to be in a state of peace and love and harmony and happiness. No one will want that. Everyone wants only the things which are beautiful in life. I was looking at this little rosary. Everyone knows a rosary, right? And this is a cute little one. This is a very important rosary on the path of Hindu devotion. It's very small, but these beads are very valuable. And they have long rosaries, 108 beads, and then 16,108 beads, and much longer than that. And they use these beads for worshiping. In the temples, they worship these beads. And they turn the beads of the rosary. I don't know if some of you would have seen some people, they carry a little bag and they have the beads in there and they keep chanting. And, you go to the temples, you'll see them. Even in Jewish religion, you also have the rosary. The Christianity, many have the rosary. Jewish doesn't have, but in Christianity, they have the rosary. Muslim also have the rosary, yeah. And so the rosary is pretty known. But if I ask myself, why is a rosary remembered? Why do we remember a rosary? Each one of us, we are the beads of a rosary. And we see the rosary as God's rosary. And imagine the world has almost 8 billion people living, and in that body is the soul. And that soul is God's child. All are God's children. So which means that all the souls of the world makes up God's rosary. Now, where am I in God's rosary? If you look at this rosary, which bead would you say is the farthest away if this is the flower? You will say the one at the top here, right? This bead. And then if you have to look at the closest bead to the flower, if we say God is the flower, and if you have to look at this, you would say the beads that are closest to the flower, you will count like this. You would not go like this. You would count like this, right? And so if you have to think of yourself in God's rosary, and the other thing about the rosary, the beads don't touch. The beads are separate from each other. So which means in relationships of harmony, there can't be attachment, there can't be possessiveness, there can't be ownership. Because that's when, if there is the touch, there is the conflict. So it's cute how they have something here that separates them. And so if we look at our own lives and we have to think and ask ourselves that I am a bead in God's rosary, where am I in his rosary? Am I very close to him or am I very far away? And if I have to be very close to God, I have to also be close to everyone else. I can't be far from anyone, no matter who they are in the wide world. I have to have that love, that respect, that loving vibrations, sweetness. I need to have these qualities because it's in these qualities that I am in this rosary and I can be threaded to be with everyone. But I want to be close to the flower. I don't want to be far away. So am I in the 8? Am I in the 108? Am I in the 16,000 or am I in the billions? It's a good question to ask the self. It's a very important question. Because if it's a rosary and we were all threaded in this rosary, it's good to pick your place where you want to be. And then I have to ask myself, am I threaded with all the souls in the... And if you break the rosary, if one of this bead fall off, the whole rosary is broken. Is it making sense? So do you see yourself in God's rosary today? This is where we are positioning ourselves in God's rosary, because harmony is very important to be in God's rosary. Jennifer, where are you in God's rosary? You choose your bead. Number 1. Okay. Very good. You are the bead in God's rosary. You're wearing your rosary. You want to give her the mic, please? 1 second. 1 second, please.
They're usually hanging on a picture frame in my bedroom. And for some reason this morning I took them off and put them on. And wore them to work.
See?
And and this other necklace I'm wearing today also looks like a rosary. But I thought it was it anyway. I haven't said the rosary in probably 40 years. I mean, I don't, but I love the concept and the lesson. And of course I want to be in God's rosary.
You are in God's rosary.
Okay, good.
But where am I in God's rosary? That's what each one of us in this room should ask myself, and then ask myself, what does it mean to be close to that flower? Right, Nina? Where are you in God's rosary? What's your thoughts? Come from that pure place and see.
An interesting question. Where am I in God's rosary? Well, I do feel that I'm within his universe. Maybe not per se in the shape of a rosary, but more like you feel a helping hand that's with you along the way. Like
Mhm.
some type of spirit that's leading you in
Okay.
the right direction,
You're threaded in his rosary.
perhaps.
I am. So if I am threaded, I'm seeing myself, and I'm playing with this because it's a very beautiful thought and feeling. Just imagine that the world in the Hindu religion, many use this for worshiping. So the more qualities we fill ourselves with, they're actually worshiping us as souls in these qualities. So we're qualifying ourselves to be in this rosary. And how do we qualify ourselves? It's with all the qualities that's necessary to create harmony. You know, when you look at an orchestra, band is playing, can you imagine someone is playing the guitars and someone is playing something else, and everyone is doing their own thing? It's chaos, right? What would that sound look like? And yet, They will all play together and they create a beautiful piece of music that wins everyone's heart. And so, what does it take? It takes that love, that respect. And you've seen that there are times when anyone is being arrogant in what they're doing. You see the change, even in the music. I want what I am doing to play louder than yours. I should be heard. Changes the whole experience. And so in our everyday life, we have to see that these are the things that emerges that creates the conflict. How many times, sometimes we're having conversations and we speak over each other. Someone is saying something and I want to be heard. And then the third one and the fourth one, and you could go on. And then many times Brother Eric will say, can one person please speak? And so you see that happens. Why? What is it that is happening inside of me at that moment that I want to be heard? And it's not that we shouldn't be heard, we should be heard. But sometimes how these, whether it's my ego or whatever, takes over. And then we take that step beyond and can't wait for someone else. And so we see ourselves and we see the things we do. And we need to look at them because our difficulties and our problems does not lie outside of us. All our challenges, all our difficulties, all our problems, all our suffering lies within myself. We have so many unnecessary thoughts, so many thoughts that I don't need them. But what are they doing in my head? Why do they stay there? Why can't they just go? Why can't they just leave me alone? Because I don't leave them. I don't leave them. I think I am right, so I keep thinking. And so we have to observe ourselves. This is why one of the things we say, be the detached observer. Step back and watch your life like a movie. And when you watch it like a movie, you would learn how to edit. So you're editing your own movie because you're the one who's creating it. So if I'm creating my movie, then I should be able to edit it. I should be able to say, you know what, I don't want this scene anymore. Let me start deleting these parts that I'm playing again and again with. And experience and creating these experiences in my life where we continue to go through suffering. I'd say to myself, why do good people suffer? No one good should be suffering. Okay, you can see someone do really wrong things and they're caught up with those things which are, really negative. You can understand that. But you see sometimes people who, they don't even harm anyone, but they suffer a lot. And again, you will ask yourself, but why is that happening? And it's all because of losing the strength, the internal strength within, losing on these powers within. And so how do I hold on to my spiritual powers instead of just dropping them? Somebody says something and I'm so happy and, having a great time. Someone says something which is not pleasant. And what do? Drop my strength, drop my powers. To pick up what? To pick up that which is unnecessary, which has no power. So why do we keep doing these things again and again? And what am I doing for myself that I don't repeat these mistakes again and again? So when I become the detached observer and I see these things, we will recognize that what is it that I need within myself to stay strong? What is it that I need? And so harmony is a very beautiful quality to keep exploring. It's a very beautiful quality to keep, exploring and see, from morning until night. What did I do today that created within myself? I create a space that I'm just happy to be there. Or else even it's a space within ourselves, we escape. Do you know that we escape our own selves? And how do we escape ourselves? How do we run away from our own selves? Do we run away from ourselves? Do we know how we do that? How do we do that?
Oh, by being detached from the qualities of the soul.
By being detached from that which is truth within, that which is your true innate quality.
And that's the utmost first way where we're running from ourselves.
right.
Because like you said, we've forgotten what they were.
Right. And so we shift away from those qualities. And so what do we do when we make that shift and we forget? What do you do? Yeah, when you forget or when you shift away from that which is true, those qualities,
Then we
what
just,
do you do that you're moving away from yourself?
we
What
just,
do you do?
we relish in the negative. We just keep relishing. It's like quicksand.
Mhm.
You just sit in there and then you get sunk in and that's it. And it's very hard to come out once you go really deep. So you
Right.
have to have the wisdom to understand. You have to not sulk down there and understand, like you said, the qualities of your intrinsic innate qualities of the soul. You have to understand what they are and practice and abide by them.
Right. Right. Anyone else? How do people escape from themselves? What do they do? This is where you hear people playing loud music, for example. Because I can't listen to the silence. The silence will tell me. Silence speaks, but we don't want to hear. And so let me cover that silence. So I'm not going to hear what's going on. Yeah, you have the television all the time. You escape by even, okay, let me meet friends all the time. Or let me get busy in doing things all the time. If I am busy, this is why people say, okay, if I'm very busy, then I don't think about XYZ. I'm not engaged in all these things. So let me get busy. But in all those things, I'm actually shifting away from my truth. I'm not allowing myself and giving myself the opportunity to listen to what's happening inside of me. So we want to be heard outside, but we don't want to hear what that inner voice, that inner child is calling for and telling me how to be, how to live, how to experience, what to experience. So we cover it. We shut it down. And these are ways we move in the direction of a lot of sorrow. a lot of pain. We wonder why today our world is such a depressed world. This world, so many, it's like they say depression is one of the biggest sickness today, the biggest disease today is depression. How is that happening? Why is that happening?
How did we get here?
How-
Like, how did we devolve into this? So afraid, I think, the root, so afraid we're going to lose self-esteem. We're going to lose someone's esteem, devalue ourselves, not be respected. You shouldn't treat me this way. I'm your mother. I'm your wife. If you love me, you'll take out the garbage. When did this all start and why? I mean, it's very, very pervasive in all around the globe.
Mhm.
Because of the lack, because we walk around as spirits having a human body experience, but we walk around with this lack and then we're looking for it. It's like the blind leading the blind. And what we're not understanding is it's all within. Every single ounce of it is within. But that lack, that blindness is so blinding that that's going on for centuries.
Right. Sorry?
I think that it's also the media and the social sites, all this that project you, how you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to act, what you're supposed to do. And you're in competition with other people trying to be what they are instead of looking into yourself and be your true self, be whatever you want to be. So
Right.
that competition with the outside world, it give you the lack of, I'm not worth enough. I'm not like them. I'm not this, not that. And you're bombarded with that.
Mhm.
That's what.
Yeah. Right. So it's all the information in the world. Too much information. If we look that there was a time when there was less information, people were very happy. Very happy. And you see today, everything is available and there's so much unhappiness. Yes.
I wanted to respond to that because I think something that came to my mind while we're having this discussion is not everyone is here to evolve.
Mhm.
There are billions of people on this planet that are not doing this work. It is not required for them, to them. They're just, you know, it's a very small percentage of the population. I mean, look at this small group right here. I mean, it's like I say to myself, how do I not go on Thursday night? You know, and I'm personally in a situation with, there are numerous members of my immediate relatives, right? The family that I was born into, there is enormous turmoil and strife, and people aren't talking to each other, and there's lying, and there's no responsibility being taken. And I can no longer be upset about this because I know what the truth is, right? And I cannot, we cannot evolve other people. I've studied several different kinds of consciousness raising with different organizations, right? And I can see in myself how I always want to invite people and say, no, 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 you have to come, right? And no, and this, like, that's why, and the work that I do for a living, I do outreach, right? And I do it in libraries. And I think libraries, that's why I'm kind of uncomfortable about the street fairs, right? Because I don't feel like it's an environment that's conducive to really reaching someone, right? In a library, it's peaceful, it's quiet. People are not as distracted. And this this work, this consciousness raising work is all about giving, right? I feel like I get so many gifts here, right? Gifts. And then I observe my consciousness, and something that there's like a sentence that keeps 2 words that keep playing in my mind instead of rumination. And those 2 words are SEE, love.
Mhm.
And and I feel like that is related to the influences that I receive here. Because what else am I going to do? Right?
Right. Yeah. Anyone else?
So perhaps I'm misunderstanding, but are you saying that there's only one way to be in harmony, or is it up to the individual?
It's up to the individual, or else right there we will create disharmony. It's, yes,
I mean, you said that loud music sounds cacophonous to you. It's not. It doesn't engender harmony. But if you listened to heavy metal, which I personally can't stand, but those musicians might tell you they are in perfect harmony sometimes.
nothing is wrong with the music. The music is perfect. I have no problem with the music. But when I'm using that as a means of not listening to my own self, that's what I have to look at. So it's not about the music. It's not about the people I'm talking to. It's not about all the things that I'm engaged with. But everything has its own moment. And you will find that there are people who sleep with their television and wake up with their television. There are people who might be in loud music night and day, because there is, it's a separation from what's happening inside. So I don't hear it. All I'm hearing is everything outside of me. And that's where for us meditation comes into the picture, where we learn the art of separating from the outside. Because if I keep taking from the outside, I'm not going to be listening to what I need inside. So I become quiet, which means detaching myself from the outside through my consciousness. And then I start to think of who I am as a soul, the living light, the living energy, the being. And in that, there is silence, there is peace, there is love, there is joy. Whatever it is that I'm looking for, I have it. But I need to take the time and go within myself. I need to trust that what I have inside of me is real, is who I am, and not get caught up that good and bad exist all the time. And so you can separate these two. Yes, we can. And so it's to move to that place. And so I'm gently withdrawing and moving deeper and deeper within, to see that within me, there lies a beautiful world, a very harmonious world, a very peaceful world. So then when I have to be in the state and listen to the music out there, to listen to the many conversations that's happening out there, to listen to all the stories that's happening where people have, problems and difficulties and all of that, it will not impact me, where I'm going to use that and create disharmony within myself. But I am giving under those circumstances. I have that I can give. So if I'm giving, then I don't need. It's when I need that I can't give. So everything is beautiful as it is out there. But where am I coming from in terms of my experience of responding to or using what is out there? Yes, Nina,
I have a question about fulfilling that need.
fulfilling that need.
Is that only done through meditation, and is that the only way, or are there other sources of spirituality that that need can be fulfilled?
See, we have tried many things, and we have tried many people, and we have tried many places, and we have tried many things to fulfill what we need inside. Parents and children, husband, wives, families, friends, neighbors, society. Keep going out into the world, and you can keep growing and growing and see. I would ask anyone in this room, and even my brothers and sisters on the Zoom, are you contented and happy? That you're feeling very fulfilled? What is the answer, Nina? No. And so why is that? Because no one can really fill me. No one can really give me the experience of being fulfilled. And so who will do that? I have to learn the art of giving to myself. And one of the art is to also go to God. Because if I don't learn this art of connecting and receiving, I'm going to be reaching out outside. And so I need to separate my consciousness, from the outer, to move within. And next is to go to the Supreme, to go beyond. And that's where my power comes from, that no one can take away from you. And this is why we say meditation is one of the most powerful art of receiving and becoming and giving. Because it's meditation that quiets the mind and gives you the chance to listen to the child within you, what the child needs. And so don't create the distractions of life or use the distractions of life that I don't hear what the inner being, the inner child is asking for. Yes.
Just to put a little icing on this cake, we started the hour talking about Dahlia. You said, you like to be loved. And we kind of intimated tonight that you need to build that power within yourself. But the Brahma Kumaris are not gurus that go into a cave and don't have relationships. I was just at Peace Village with 183 family members who are like-minded. So when that spirituality that we do in the privacy of our own consciousness, our intellect taken to God, join in and dance and celebrate the 25th anniversary of Peace Village, where we were. And I know that fundamentally we have so much in common because we have chosen a spiritual path. And I believe that's what you're talking about. But I can't give away to another person. If I'm a guru in a cave, not slandering gurus, but we take it out there and we break the disharmony in our homes, in the workplace, when we're spiritually fit. And I have never in my life done that as successfully as I do it now. And that doesn't mean I have miles to go before I sleep. I do. But it's a wonderful feeling when I can be on the phone with my brother who's all discombobulated over his daughter and I can discern when to speak, if I should speak. Is he going to jump down my throat because he's agitated? Is this the right time? But it's all, I'm constantly going to, we call God Baba. Baba, give me a hand here. I need some, Baba. And I get the magic. So I know it's getting late, but we don't just be, but we have to remember to be first, right?
You know, one of the things that we were focusing last month, the month of April, it is called harmonizing our sanskars. Sanskars means our personalities. And so, how do we harmonize with everyone? Can you imagine every day we've studied for 1 month only on this experience of how to be together, not being attached or being dependent, but living with love and that harmony. Why? Why do we do all these things here? So that we want to be happy. We want to be able to share what we receive to the world. And so it starts here. It starts with me. It starts in this room where we practice it, where we use it, and where we share it. We share it, as Luis was sharing. Yes, you have to live out there. You have to be with the families. You have to do all the things you have to do. But I've got to give time for myself to experience what I have, which is true within myself, and connecting with God and to receive. And on a last note, Sister Mohini always shares that one of our senior daddies, we call them daddy, senior, she was, once someone was speaking not so nice things to her, like very insultive. And she sat there and she listened to it all. And so then they were asking her after, Daddy, why did you not say anything? She says, I was busy testing all my powers, seeing if where all my powers they are in place. So she was looking at her powers while someone else is busy doing what they have to do. So they think it's right to say the things, and she was busy doing what she needed to do. Now, where is my focus? Is my focus on the difficulties of what I think out there or people think out there? Or am I taking that shift internally and seeing that what I have is so strong, is so beautiful, whom I can remember is so the Almighty, who is most powerful? Why are we picking up the things which makes us unhappy in life? To create relationships of conflict. So let's all take something away from for ourselves tonight, whether from your own thoughts or whatever was shared. Take something and ask yourself, if there is anyone in your life where you feel that you're challenged, what they do, what they think, however, whatever, in whatever form, ask yourself, what is it that I can do better in my own life that will bring a change to myself, which will 100%, I guarantee you, will bring a change outside. Not change a person, but it's going to change something outside of you. So let's have a few minutes of meditation. Luce, you have any announcements?
I just have 3 quick announcements, and thank you so much. Next week, we have Sister Tina continuing our discussion of harmony. We also have a program on Saturday for the public if you enter through the bookstore. And the topic is the will and capacity to focus.
Yes.
And lastly, we do have a kind of a beginner's course in Levittown, which I am at Saturday mornings with Sister Anjani and Sister Rupa. And we are just enchanted with bringing this to anyone who's interested in hearing a little bit more, a little bit more depth. So Levittown at 10 o'clock. You can get information. If you don't have our email, if we don't have your email, please on the way out, We'll give you Toli, we'll give you blessing, and we'll let you sign up if you. Okay?
But please call if you're coming for the classes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's
Yes.
about it, right? For
Yes.
now.
Okay,
Okay.
so let's
time
have a
for-
few minutes of reflective meditation. And we're reflecting on what we have within ourselves. I know we are over time, but this is necessary. So let's be comfortable. One, the body is seated very comfortable. And become aware that I am a being of light. And I'm living in this body. I'm the living energy. And the moment I can think of myself as this living energy, I can see the separation and feel the separation of the two. Soul and body. When I'm aware of myself as a soul, I'm aware of how I'm using this body. And that's the first step to harmony. Because I'm aware that I'm using this body. So when I need to speak, I speak. When I need to see, I see. I'm aware. And it is this awareness that has the power to be who I am, the power to be pure and peaceful, loving and happy, the power to accept others as they are for what they are. Feel that inner quietness and love for the self. My thoughts are full of love and of sharing. It is in harmony that I can give. Continue to give and forgive. Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. And I want to thank the Zoomers for coming this evening. And believe it or not, you may think we're only a few people here, but we were a total of at least 30 tonight. All right. Om Shanti. Thank you again, Sister.
Om Shanti. Lovely to see you.
Have blessing and
Shanti.
Toli on your way out.
Sure.